Hi, I'm Jake.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is the Wonderful Thing About Disney podcast.
Because Disney's a wonderful thing. Come on down, stop on by, hop a carpet, and fly with us as we discuss the parks, treats, and all things Disney, with new episodes every wonderful Wednesday.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You know what, babe? What is one of the wonderful things about Disney?
I mean, there are many, but I think for us, one of the most wonderful things is going to Disney as a family, taking our kids.
Exactly. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about the greatest family vacation ever to Walt Disney World and going over how we planned it, because that trip really was the greatest vacation that we've ever had.
It was.
So we had this idea for an episode on our list anyway for quite a while, but we decided it was even more timely now because we just got back from a trip to Universal in California. It was our first time going, and honestly, it was really overwhelming to try and plan our day, not knowing what to expect, having never been there before, thinking where are we going to eat, all those things. It was a lot.
Yeah, and while we've been to Disney many times, we know it can be difficult to navigate. So this kind of put us in the mindset of what it would be like to plan your first trip to Disney or plan a big family trip to Walt Disney World. You know, for example, you might have questions like, what's Genie Plus? What do you mean rope drop? Do I have to stay at a Disney resort?
For sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've said this before and we opened our podcast. We actually mentioned this to somebody today, ironically enough, but to just on a whim decide, hey, I'm going to Disney today. It's not that easy anymore. So for this episode, we will talk about our personal experiences on this particular trip because it was amazing. But we also want to give you some ideas and tips and tricks on planning a big trip of your own. Because some families may only have the opportunity to go once in their lifetime. Yeah. And so we want to help you prep and plan so that you can have the most magical experience possible.
Yeah, so when we took our family, we made a trip of it in May of 2023. So I think we have to go back a few months to start when we decided that we wanted to take the kids to Disney. So we actually started planning in October of 2022. And again, taking a step back, we decided that December, that Christmas, so December of 2022, we were going to surprise them with a trip to Disney. And we kind of did like a who, what, when, where, why, how kind of gift.
Yeah, and that idea was really incredible. I honestly don't even remember where or how you came up with it, but it was for sure a home run.
Yeah, so it was something that I found on Pinterest, and I really fell in love with the idea. So there were 6 different gifts, and each of them answered a different question to help them reveal the surprise. So we started off with the why. So we wrote them letters, and these letters were kind of explaining why we love them and why we had one last Christmas present for them.
Yeah, because this was after we'd done all of our other Christmas stuff, and yeah, that was really special. I'm glad that we did that.
Yeah, so then we moved on to the who, and that was a picture of our family. So we had a picture of all of us, and we had it framed. So that kind of told them who the present involved. So it was a present involving our family. So then we moved to the what, and we actually made them postcards, and it said our family vacation on it. And it was written from some of our family members, and it gave them clues as to where we were going.
Right, and by now, like, the excitement is starting to build. They know we're going on a family vacation together, but this is where it really started to get exciting. And that was a really fun touch. We had one written from grandma, their cousins, even our dog. And it was just something simple like, I hope you miss me as much as I miss you while you're on vacation. So now it's all coming together. They know we're going on vacation somewhere. They just don't know where.
Yeah, so the next was the how. So we actually gave them a small, like, little matchbox of a plane, a bus, and a car. So it told them how we were getting to our family vacation. We would have to take a plane, a bus, and a car. So then we did the when, and this actually revealed a calendar, and we chose specifically not Disney to try to throw them off. But
that was good.
Yeah, so in the calendar, we counted down the days. So as they flipped through the calendar, they could see then, oh, this whole week in May, it says family vacation. So they knew when we were going.
And the way we did that, again, I mean, this is a calendar starting in January. So they're flipping through when we wrote down our birthdays and some other fun things. But they had to go through the entire calendar until they found a countdown of like 10 days out, and then they knew when we were going. That was fun.
Yeah, so the last present was the where. So we put pictures on the flap of the boxes that said, I'm going to Walt Disney World, and we had a picture of our resort and some Disney snacks. And inside the box was essentially a Walt Disney World starter kit. So it had some pins, hats. For our daughter, it had a Loungefly backpack. They each had some t-shirts, their magic bands, their first button pin. So it really was just like a starter kit.
Yeah. And that was totally the grand finale. And by that point, they were so excited. And honestly, it was really quite emotional, I think, for all of us in the best way. I mean, we're all hugging and we're crying and we're looking at all these surprises for our trips that's still months away. But it was just really magical. And that was our we're going to Disney World moment, you know? So totally a core memory was made that morning.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun reveal for our kids. But even before Christmas morning, there was so much pre-planning and preparation that went into this. So for us on this trip, again, we had already purchased plane tickets, park tickets, resort, hotel. We had everything planned for our Christmas surprise. But for the purpose of this episode, I think we're going to outline chronologically in terms of when to begin organizing your vacation.
Definitely. And it was a lot of work. But before we get down to business, I just have to say that this is really where Ashley shines. She is totally our trip planner. It is really great at doing all of this. We absolutely plan our trips together, but she's totally the mastermind. I appreciate her involving me, which, like, honestly, she doesn't really need to do. In fact, like, we've included Ashley's park planning expertise as part of our Patreon membership, so it's available to anybody if you'd like. But without further ado, babe, do your thing.
No pressure at all. Okay, so we're going to start, again, pre-planning. So I think about 6 months out, at least, for your vacation. Number one, you're obviously going to want to book your plane tickets. And I think it goes without saying you want to pick an airline that works best for you. We, at the time, so for our family trip, we chose Southwest because of the free checked bags, but they also had good flight times. It had a layover so our kids could get off of the plane, kind of eat lunch, run around a little bit. So it helped them get some energy out.
Right. And we were flying across the country as well. So it was going to be a long flight. And we just didn't want to have to worry about the bag situation. So having those free bags was awesome.
Yeah. So also 6 months out, at least, you're going to want to book your resort. And I think you want to keep in mind that some are more kid-oriented and kid-friendly. I mean, all of them are kid-friendly, but some of them are more themed rooms to those younger kids.
Right. I understand what you're saying because, again, all of these Disney resorts, like you said, have a theme, and some of them are more based around Disney animated features, like where we happened to stay at Port Orleans. There was Tiana and Princess and the Frog in the room, so like it made it fun for our kids. Whereas if you stay at some of the other higher end resorts, maybe it's just a little more fancier. So yeah, like you can totally pick a resort that fits your family's favorite movie or the age of your kids to kind of make it whimsical for them.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of prices in different resorts, so there's 3 different categories that Disney resorts fall into: value, moderate, and deluxe. So your value resort, for example, is like your Art of Animation, your Pop Century. Those are very family focused. They have family suites. They're themed rooms, kid-oriented, lots of playgrounds, pools. So those are your value resorts.
Just a lower price point to get into.
Yep. Then you have your moderate resorts, and that's examples of like Port Orleans, Riverside, and Port Orleans French Quarter. And then you have your deluxe, which is your most expensive. So that's going to be like your Grand Floridian, your Polynesian, things like that.
Yeah, and again, I do need to say that all of these are outstanding.
They are.
And all of them have their perks as well. It doesn't mean just because you're staying at a value resort that you're 50 miles outside of town. Art of Animation and Pop Century, like you mentioned, they're right on the Skyliner. So you're able to jump to Hollywood Studios, to Epcot very, very easily. So there are great options no matter which tier of resort you choose.
Absolutely. And we chose Port Orleans Riverside for 2 main reasons. One of them being there was a lot of activities at the resort for the kids to do.
Yes, that was very cool.
But number 2, this resort actually has in the rooms 2 beds and a Murphy bed, and it fits a family of 5. So again, we could have gone to like Art of Animation or Pop Century and gotten a family suite, but it fit in our price range. It was cheaper to fit a family of 5.
Yeah, and that worked out really great for us. We had a lot of stuff, obviously, with 5 of us, but it didn't feel cramped. I think we had plenty of room. Everyone slept very well, so that was great that we had that as an option.
Yeah, so then you're also probably thinking like, okay, well, do I need to stay on site? And we're both big advocates of staying at a Disney resort, especially for Walt Disney World, because Definitely. It has perks. When you stay on site, you have early entry to the parks, which means every day you can get into the park 30 minutes early before everybody else. And then depending on the resort that you're staying at, sometimes they have extended hours for deluxe resort guests, which means you can stay in the park after it closes to regular guests.
And I think that's a really great topic that we could probably do an entire episode on, and maybe we will in the future, like on-site versus off-site. But especially for Disney World, once we stayed on property the first time at a Disney World resort, we've never gone back to anything off-site. It's just the convenience, the magic, the perks to it. I mean, sometimes you need to save up a little bit more, but it's worth it in our minds.
Yeah, and staying on site, you also have internal transportation. So you have buses, the monorail, you mentioned the Skyliner. So you don't need a rental car in order to get around. Whereas staying off-site, you would probably need a rental car to get from your off-site location to the park. Then you have to pay for parking. You have to deal with traffic getting to the park every day. So we are big advocates of staying on site. It's worth it.
I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah, so again, 6 months out, you've got your plane tickets, you booked your resort, now you need to get your park tickets. And personally, I don't think park hoppers are worth it for a young family. It's hard to do everything in the park when you're just visiting one park a day, let alone trying to hop over to a different park. So that saves you money. So I personally don't think park hoppers are worth it.
And you read my mind, because every time we've gone, there's always been plenty to do for a full day. And sometimes there's even more than you can do in one whole day. Mm-hmm. So with a young family, it's totally worth it, I think, as well, to just forego the park hopper, choose the one park you want to spend your day at, and get the most out of it. Do everything that you can, rather than just focusing on some of those bigger key attractions and then jumping out to another park.
Exactly. And also, when you're purchasing your park tickets, you want to keep in mind what parks you want to visit each day. So if you know that you want to visit Magic Kingdom twice, or you want to do, maybe you don't want to do Animal Kingdom, things like that, you also just want to keep in mind how many days you want to purchase your park tickets for. But when we went, we did 4 park days, so 1 park each day, and we did 2 rest days. And we'll talk about the rest days in a little bit and
those
why.
Rest days were exceptional.
Exactly.
Such a good plan that really made our vacation that much better.
Yeah, and then in 2025, Disney actually announced that you get a free water park ticket the day of your check-in. Again, if you're staying on site, so one more thing to advocate for. So if you have an earlier flight in the morning, or even if you get in at like 1 or 2, you could still go to the water park after you check in.
And I'm excited about that, because we've never done the water parks there.
We haven't.
So I'm looking forward to that next year, to be able to take advantage of that. And I think that's a really great thing to give back to your guests, saying, hey, we're going to throw this in for free the day that you check in. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So, okay, again, 6 months out, you've got your park tickets, you booked your resort, you've got your plane tickets. The other thing that we started doing with our kids after the Christmas surprise was we started watching Disney movies together as a family, and we picked ones that were associated with attractions. So, for example, our kids had never seen Bug's Life.
Right.
And in Animal Kingdom, you have It's Tough to Be a Bug, and we wanted them to understand where that kind of came from. So we watched Bug's Life. Our daughter had never seen Pirates of the Caribbean, so we had her watch that. We all watched Ratatouille to get ready for the ride in Epcot. And it was also just a fun family bonding moment to have.
It was really fun, and I think it kind of kept that magic from Christmas morning going. So, we were always looking at more movies that might be something that we were going to experience, participate in, like Princess and the Frog. I know the boys had never seen that, and honestly, I don't remember the last time I had seen Princess and the Frog, but because we were staying at Riverside, that was our room theme. It was really great and helped us continue to be excited as the vacation got closer and closer, and kind of killed some time in between, because let's be honest, there's a big gap from when we told them until when we were actually able to go.
You're like, okay, Ashley, I've got everything planned out. I've got my park tickets, my resort, our plane tickets. We're watching movies. We're good, right? No, there's still so much more that goes into planning. So next you're going to start 2 months out. So 60 days in advance is when you can start booking dining reservations. And this is going to be on the My Disney Experience app. Dining reservations go live at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's Florida time.
And this is important. I got to jump in here because these reservations go quickly. And just full disclosure, we are as guilty as anyone about this, but we will go and often overbook our reservations, meaning we'll book anything and everything we think we might want to do up front, and then we'll drop them later once we finalize our park plans or if we change our minds. So we might grab multiple dining reservations for the same day, being fully aware that we'll probably only do one of those at most. And again, whatever time zone you're in, you just got to suck it up and wake up early that day and hop on and grab what you want to. And, we need to mention that we had a game plan before any of that happened. Like, we knew what parks we were going to on which days. We knew what dining reservations were appealing for us that we wanted to take advantage of. So that was good that we were prepared before that 6 a.m. Eastern time, 60 days out. And then if you're staying at a Disney resort, you can book your reservations for your entire trip up to 10 days, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and again, why we advocate to stay on property is because if you are staying off property, you have to wake up every morning 60 days out to get those booked. So, like you said, if you're staying on property, you can book for your entire trip up to 10 days. So if you're staying for 11 days, you could only book dining reservations for the first 10 days. But if you're staying off property, you have to wake up every single morning, 60 days out of your park visit to do that.
Yeah, that would be rough. I mean, we've done it before. It's doable. You just know for that week, every day you're waking up, crack of dawn or middle of the night to do it. But it's possible.
Yeah. And we also need to mention that you do have to put a credit card on file when booking your reservations, because if you no-show, they will charge you a penalty fee. And I think in most cases, 24 hours in advance of the reservation is sufficient to cancel. But it depends on the popularity of the restaurant. So please double check. Don't take our word for it. Double check on those penalty fees, that cancellation policy, because times can always vary.
Yeah, just verify it. And all of them will tell you that in the app and stuff. So lock in your reservation and then go check in the description and it'll tell you what the cancellation policies are.
And some of our favorites that I think go pretty quickly are Roundup Rodeo Barbecue in Hollywood Studios, Tusker House in Animal Kingdom, and Ohana over at the Polynesian. Those are pretty popular and they go very quickly.
Yeah, and all of those are very family-oriented type experiences as well when you're dining, whether that's characters or just the Roundup Rodeo experience in Toy Story Land. So yeah, those ones do go very quick, but they're home runs. Those are our favorite 3 that we would probably go to every time that we visit the park.
So you're staying on property and you're like, oh my gosh, Ashley, it's 60 days out or we're 59 days out and I totally forgot to make my dining reservation. And now Tusker House is gone. What do I do? Can I not eat there? What do I do? So there are third-party apps, and our favorite is actually Stakeout. And Stakeout will alert you when a dining reservation becomes available. So in the app, you put the date that you want to visit, the party size, and obviously the restaurant that you want to eat at. And it's worth mentioning that this app will not book it for you. It will just alert you when a time becomes available. So you still have to go into the My Disney Experience app to book it.
But that usually gives you plenty of time. I mean, it's monitoring it right away. It gives you the push notification. So then just go into My Disney Experience app and it's sitting there waiting for you to book.
Exactly. And it is a free app, but it will only allow you to do one, they call them stakeouts. So only one stakeout at a time. There is a paid feature and there's a couple different tiers, and we've always just used the free one. But again, it will send you a text or a push notification when a time becomes available for the restaurant and date and party size of your choice. And you can also do then multiple ones at a time if you do the paid option.
No, it's cool. Once we learned about this, we use it all the time, whether we're booking a long time out or like last minute trip ideas. It's a great tool and option if you really want to do some dining experiences or other experiences in the park and you miss that opening window.
Well, and to your point, surprisingly, we've never used this for Walt Disney World, and I think it's because we book our Walt Disney World trips pretty far in advance.
Correct. Yes, I agree.
We go to Disneyland on a whim quite often, and it's usually like 2 weeks out or something very close.
Yeah.
So we use Stakeout a lot for Disneyland, but we've gotten Blue Bayou several times. We've gotten breakfast at the Plaza Inn, Storytellers, Goofy's Kitchen. So it works. We know it works.
Yeah. No, it's a great tip. Take advantage of it for sure.
Yeah. And it also works for enchanting extras. We haven't tried it, but we assume that it works the exact same way. And you're probably thinking, Ashley, what's an enchanting extra? So
tell them about it.
I'm going to tell them. So it's, for example, it's building the lightsabers. It's Bippity Boppity Boutique. It's any of the Animal Kingdom tours, Behind the Seeds tour at Epcot. It's anything that might cost extra money that's kind of like a tour.
And there's a lot of options, y'all.
There are a lot in Disney World, yeah. And you book those, again, 60 days in advance, just like the dining reservation, and you do it on the website.
And I think there are a lot of those that do go very quickly. So that's another one that you want to jump on or take advantage of Stakeout. Usually, I think every time we've gone, there's always something that you can do as an enchanted extra. But some of those enchanting extras go very quickly.
They do. They absolutely do. So you've got your dining reservation 60 days out. You've got all the major stuff. You're like, what additional other prep do I need to do? One thing that you will also need to keep in mind is your shuttle. You land in Orlando. How am I getting to Disney, especially if I'm staying on property, on site? There is something called a Mears shuttle, and that will take you to and from directly from the airport to your Disney resort. And we find that it is easier and sometimes cheaper than an Uber or rental car.
Yeah, and it's just a travel bus that's there parked at the airport. They'll take all your luggage, stow it down below. You get nice padded seats to take you directly to your resort hotel, put you right at the front door. Super convenient. It's great.
And this is something where you have to have a reservation for. And sometimes we've only booked the reservation 48 hours in advance.
Yeah, they don't need a lot of lead time on that.
They don't, but you do need to have one. I don't think you can just show up there and have them take you to your resort. But again, you don't need a rental car if you're staying on Disney property because there is that internal transportation, the buses, the monorail. So a Mears shuttle, we've used it, highly recommend.
And again, always check the prices. Don't hold us to this, but usually when we go, we're talking $35 per person round trip.
Correct.
So again, it's, I think, very affordable and a great option for a family.
One other thing that you probably want to consider for additional prep is Instacart. You want to make sure that you have room for like your souvenirs and all your clothing and your bags and things. And sometimes when you check your bags, you don't want to take groceries with you because you never know how the airline is going to handle your bag. So we highly recommend Instacart. Super easy delivery. We've ordered the food only 2 days out and have used Instacart.
And honestly, we packed a small cooler one time with ice packs. So like we've flown to Orlando with cold stuff before. That's prior to us learning about Instacart. Since then, we don't bother with that anymore. It was great, though. I thought it's been a great experience every time. These are people who do this on the regular. They know the drill, how to get it to your resort for you and stuff. You can track them in the app. It's awesome.
Yeah, to your point, it was super easy. It's been super easy. We found that Publix works the best with Instacart, which is the local grocery store in Florida. But yeah, again, great solution to ordering your snacks instead of taking things with you.
And we've used it for anything, like dry food on the shelf, cold things, refrigerated things, Pop-Tarts, granola bars, apples. It's all available there, and they do a great job every time. So there's our shameless plug for Instacart. They're fantastic.
Yeah. The last thing that we did kind of for additional prep was we bought gift cards for the kids. The kids had saved up money from Christmas or anything else that they had earned from Christmas up to our trip in May. And this was awesome because they knew how much money they had. And we had been telling them for months that, like, when it is gone, it's gone. So they knew how much money that they had. And you and I had been before, obviously. So we kind of knew what was where. So if there was something specific they were looking for, we could tell them, hey, you need to wait until you go to Hollywood Studios because they'll have a better selection there. So that was awesome.
And they did some window shopping on, Disney Shop or Shop Disney, whatever they're calling the website now. So they kind of had an idea of what they might be looking for. Mm-hmm. But it was really fun for them to have their own card that they could swipe so that they were buying things themselves. Mm-hmm. I thought that was another home run idea that worked out really great for the kids that they loved.
Mm-hmm. We bought the gift cards at our local grocery store, so then we got the fuel points. So it really was a win-win. And you can load the gift cards on your My Disney Experience app. However, as to your point, the kids really wanted to have their physical cards because they wanted to pay for it.
Right.
So here's a little tip and trick that I found. So you always want to write down the card number and take pictures of the gift cards. Just put them in a note on your phone. And you want to do this because if the gift card is ever lost or stolen, you can call the number that's on the back of the card and report it as lost or stolen, and they will freeze all of the funds that are on the card, and then they will upload that remaining amount to your My Disney Experience app.
That's great.
But in order to do this, you also need proof of your purchase. So in the app or in the note on our phone, we had a picture of each gift card, front and back, and we also had a picture of the receipt that we had used to purchase the gift cards.
Yeah.
And yeah, it worked out great.
It did. And the kids loved it. That was super, super fun.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing we need to talk about as well is magic bands.
Yep.
Magic bands are not required, but they do make everything so much easier. And especially with the Magic Band Plus now, when you're going on the shows or different attractions, like it's going to light up and go off as part of that production or part of that experience. Super, super fun. So this is why they've made a big push for Magic Bands, because it will hold your Lightning Lane reservations. It will even be able to pay for things if you load it onto your Disney Experience app and link your card. But you've got to do this before you go. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really the point I wanted to make with this is if you're staying at a resort hotel.
Again, another perk staying on site.
Right. They do have exclusive Magic Bands that are only available for resort guests. Mm-hmm. And you can order those prior to going. Mm-hmm. And they can even be customized with your names on them, which is super fun. So that way the kids got to pick their own, had their name on it, whatever. That was great. We made sure that we ordered those and we had them in our possession before our trip because we wanted to link them to the account before we even left. Mm-hmm. I fully understand that you can walk into the park day of, you can go to one of the stores and pick your Magic Band off the rack, but then you run into a couple risks. One, the time. I mean, this is time you could be rope dropping and getting in line for something else. Two, it may not be fully charged off the rack.
Yes, Magic Bands need to be charged.
They do, and they probably will not last the whole day. So the last thing you want to do is, I spent this money for the Magic Band and I put it on and it didn't even make it half the day. Mm-hmm. That can't happen. So if you have them in your possession prior to, you can link them, you can charge them, and it's great. And it's also relatively easy to add your children to your Disney account if they don't have a Disney account of their own. Mm-hmm. I know you did that for our kids, so all of them were under you. You were able to manage that and see that all the time in the app.
Yep.
Worked out really, really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that was really fun that I know the kids loved is that the magic bands will even open your resort hotel door if you're staying on property.
They would fight over it.
Right.
Yes.
They took turns as they fought over it of who got to open the door. But it's just a fun thing that you can just scan your magic band. Your door opens. It's great. One less thing to carry around is a room key or anything else. Yes, it's all on the app now, but you can just have it on your wrist, which was super fun.
Yeah. So, all right, you've got all of the pre-planning done almost. Now you're getting up to kind of your park day. And you want to be able to prioritize your park day because, again, like we said, the reality is you are not going to be able to do everything in the park.
Correct.
So you're going to have to prioritize and make some goals. So I actually found this on social media, and so I can't take credit for this, but I absolutely love it and want to share it with everybody. It's called the 3-2-1 rule. So that means you want to prioritize 3 rides, 2 shows, and 1 dining reservation. You can obviously do more, but you want to make sure you have some goals. That way everybody is happy and everybody gets to do what they want to do.
Yeah, and you could totally do that as a family, saying here's the 3 we all want to do, or just have every individual in your party do that themselves, saying, okay, I want to ride 1, 2, and 3. I want to see these 2, and there's probably going to be overlap, but I think that's a fun way to have a game plan going into your park day. That way, it's like if nothing else happens, we were able to get these 3 rides, these 2 shows, and this dining reservation.
And I think it's important only 1 dining reservation because if you have 2 table service, which means a sit-down reservation, to have 2 of those a day is unrealistic. It just takes up way too much time in your day because those table service, that sit down, that can take an hour, hour and a half, depending on the restaurant. It just eats up way too much time.
It can, and you want to enjoy that time. You want to enjoy the meals. Some of them are all you can eat as well, so maybe you want to sit down and totally pig out, which is totally fine.
Yeah, and before I found this, we actually kind of had used this without knowing it. There were always rides, a couple shows, and 1 dining reservation that we always prioritized. So I actually made a PDF guide, and we're going to post that over on our Patreon that you can download and utilize as to how to prioritize and make your 3-2-1 rule.
Yeah, the 3-2-1 rule is awesome.
Yeah, and with the 3-2-1 rule, you also kind of need to decide if your family is going to rope drop and what rides you are going to rope drop. And for those who don't know, what I mean by a rope drop is you're getting to the parks early and essentially running to your first ride. You are there before park opens because you can get into the park really before it opens. And there is a point where the cast members will stand and you can't get any further because it is that early. The park is not open.
So let's say that the park opens at 8 a.m. They may start scanning tickets at the gate at 7:30 and allow you to go into the park to a certain point. So depending on what attraction you're going to or what direction in the park you're going, there may be multiple points that you wait until that 8 o'clock hour when the park does officially open.
And we'll kind of get into rope dropping a little bit later, but it's great with early entry because, again, if you're staying at a Disney resort on property, you get in 30 minutes early and you can still rope drop. But when you rope drop, you're maybe only standing in line for 30 minutes versus this popular ride throughout the day. It can last an hour and a half. So You just need to decide whether your family is get up early and rope drop or we sleep in and we get to the park whenever we get there.
Yeah, I love that.
You have done all your pre-planning. You've prioritized your goals. You have your dining reservation. You're like, Ashley, I'm good. I can just go and enjoy the park today, right? Almost. Almost.
Bear with us, people. We're at the day of your visit.
We're getting there. So there are 3 things that we still need to talk about. Genie Plus, a virtual queue, and an individual lightning lane. All of these things can be done through the My Disney Experience app. So let's do the virtual queue first, because I think that one's the easiest to explain.
I agree. Yeah, let's start there.
So a virtual queue is essentially a boarding group that you will get. So you join these boarding groups at 7 a.m. and it will give you a return time when your group is called to come back and ride the ride. So this is only for 2 rides currently at Disney World, Tron and Magic Kingdom and Guardians at Epcot. So you want to be right on the app at 7 a.m., even before 7 a.m. You want to be in the app at 6:59 a.m.
And that's, for us, that's usually before we've even left to the parks. This is while we're still lying in bed at the hotel room.
Sometimes, yeah.
We're opening the app and getting ready to hop on, refresh right at 7 a.m.
Yes. A little tip, we have found to not use the park Wi-Fi because sometimes it can be slow. So if the park opens at 7 and you are already there, because that's when you can join your boarding group, do not use the park Wi-Fi. And you also want to make sure to have your whole party in the app. That way everybody can join all at once.
Yeah, no, that's it. And then I know there's a lot of times that people may have missed that 7 a.m. They'll usually open up a second boarding group window at 1 p.m. And that can be an additional time. So say you missed out on Guardians or Tron first thing in the morning, they'll open up the boarding group again at 1 p.m. that you can hop on the app and maybe get a boarding group for the afternoon or evening. So there is another chance once you're in the park. But to your point, that's again where the Wi-Fi gets super bogged down. Sometimes service isn't the best. So your best bet to get a boarding group is first thing in the morning.
And I think it's worth mentioning that when your boarding group is called, you still have to stand in line.
You do.
It doesn't work that you just get to skip to the front of the line because everybody else is in the boarding group as well. So you could still be standing in line for an hour for Tron or for Guardians of the Galaxy.
And this is usually how Disney is opening these new attractions, the ones that are extremely popular. So there is no standby line. It's you
Correct.
get a boarding group and you get to ride, or you don't.
Yes, and that's a difficult part. So yeah, so virtual queue, 7 a.m., join for Tron and Guardians. The next thing is Genie Plus. So Genie Plus is the program that you purchase, but the passes that you get are called Lightning Lanes. Why it's not the same and Disney uses different terminology to confuse everybody, we'll never know. But Genie Plus is the program that you buy. The Lightning Lanes are essentially like the old Fast Pass system.
And I do need to jump in here and mention this because when we were just at Disneyland a week ago, we were going on to Indiana Jones, and there were two girls in front of us in the Lightning Lane line, and they went to scan their app or their magic bands, and the cast member said, "I'm sorry, you don't have a reservation or a reserved time." And they said, "But we have Genie Plus." So just because you have Genie Plus doesn't mean that you automatically go and take advantage of those Lightning Lanes anytime, whenever you want. Genie Plus just enables you the opportunity to utilize Lightning Lanes. So I think we need to go into that because it was confusing, and clearly people are still having some trouble understanding how to use the Lightning Lanes within Genie Plus.
Yes, so Lightning Lane allows you to pick a time to come back and skip the line. So again, it works like the old Fast Pass system. So these go on sale 12 a.m. the day of your park visit. And prices can vary, but typically it's anywhere from $15 to $30 per person, depending upon the time of year, how busy the park will be. It can vary.
And that's, again, those busier days in the park are usually when the price increases, unfortunately. But that means that you're able to get more advantage of skipping that line because the lines are typically longer that day.
And how the Lightning Lane works is you can book a new Lightning Lane every 2 hours or as soon as you scan into a ride, whichever comes first. And I'll use two examples. So first one, the park opens at 8 a.m. I book something on Genie Plus. I get a Lightning Lane for 8:20 a.m. I can go scan into the ride at 8:20 and immediately book another attraction because that came first. I scanned in. Part 2 of that is park opens at 8 a.m. I book something for 2 p.m. because that's when the return time was. It's a popular ride. I have to wait until 10 a.m. until I can book something else because that's 2 hours later. That's what came first.
And what you're explaining is you can actually hold multiple Lightning Lane reservations or return times at the same time.
Absolutely. So in the app on the tip board is where you will see Disney Genie Plus book experience. So this will have your selection of rides and will tell you actually when you can book another attraction. So if you're not exactly sure, in like a purple bar, it will tell you book now, book, 12:01 p.m., whenever your next available time is to book. And there's more that we want to share about Genie Plus, but this is already a long episode. So we're actually going to record an episode just on Genie Plus, and we're going to go post that over on our Patreon.
Yeah, that'll be our after hours event for this episode. Some more really good tips. We'll dive a little bit deeper into Genie Plus, how to use it, and we've got a really awesome hack that we'll share with you as well. So check that out on Patreon.
Absolutely. So we have the virtual queue, you have your Genie Plus, then you also have your individual lightning lanes. So this works exactly like your regular lightning lanes, but it's an additional cost on top of your Genie Plus. So for example, there's like 1 to 2 rides in every park. In Magic Kingdom, it would be like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and Animal Kingdom, it would be Flight of Passage. These are your top tier rides. There is still a standby line, so you don't have to buy your individual lightning lane, but you can't get a regular lightning lane. If you want to skip the line, you have to pay for these particular rides, an additional cost to your Genie Plus.
So it's kind of a separate program almost from Genie Plus and the lightning lane. But if you have some of these rides that your heart is set on to ride that day and you're watching that wait time go up higher and higher and higher, you may say, you know what, we're going to bite the bullet, pay the $15 and go directly on to Seven Dwarfs or Flight of Passage and forego that standby line.
Mm-hmm. And to your point, I mean, we've seen anywhere from $15 to $25 per person. Again,
Correct.
You have to pay per person. So yeah, individual lightning lane works the same as regular lightning lane. You can get a return time. It's just you have to pay for these top tier rides.
Yep. So that's more of an a la carte one-off
Correct.
Type experience. Yep. Okay. Let's take a breath for a minute.
It's been a lot.
This is a lot. And we knew this episode might be overwhelming to listen to. And honestly, it was a lot of prep work on our side as well. But that's because we wanted to go over everything. We know that planning a trip to Disney can be a lot. So hopefully this helps you, especially with the timeline of it all and when you need to start and what you need to tick off. But there's always one more thing, and I'm sorry there is, but all these tips really will help you get the most out of your park experience, especially in Walt Disney World, where the parks are always busy.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really an off season anymore. There are busier times than others for sure, but it is a lot. So I hope you're still with us. I hope this helped. We're going to go just a little bit further, talk about a sample itinerary of what you could utilize to help plan your trip.
We have a typical itinerary that we found that works for us. We've used this several times, but we go to the same parks on the same days. You actually don't need to take notes here. We'll again post a sample of this itinerary over on our Patreon. And
that's for everyone to see, by the way, too. So whether you're a member or not, please go over to Patreon. This is already typed up, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel. We've done it for you. Print it off. Take advantage of it.
So Saturday, if we go for a week, we fly in on Saturday. That's usually our travel day. So we get to Disney. We get to our resort. So for our trip that we went with our kids in May, we got into Port Orleans pretty late, so we just got dinner there. We unpacked and just kind of relaxed and took it all in.
Yeah, and Sunday we set aside as a rest day or a resort day. That was really the day that we got acclimated because we were going across a couple time zones. We slept in a little bit, after the day of travel. At Port Orleans Riverside, they had a fishing hole at the resort. So it was a couple bucks. We got a fishing rod and some bait. We went and sat there for an hour or two and just fished. And it was really fun. It was really very simple. It was quiet. It just helped us kind of, again, get used to being at the resort and start taking advantage of those activities. Additionally, we went over to Fantasia Gardens and we did mini golf, which was super fun.
It was fun.
Just all Disney themed mini golf course. The kids loved it. One key thing here is you need to book this 24 hours in advance.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, the reason why is because it does get busy. A lot of people do walk up there, and the wait time can be anywhere from an hour to 2 or 3 sometimes. And I mean, yes, there are some other resort hotels that are nearby, but there's kind of not a lot to do when you're just sitting right there at the mini golf course. So definitely book that in advance. And then we went over to Disney Springs for dinner, and that was great to walk around a little bit. We got to see a few of the shops, but we were kind of waiting, saving our gift cards for when we went to the actual parks themselves. But we got to soak in Disney Springs that night and have dinner. It was really fun.
Monday, we did Epcot. We decided as a family we were going to be rope drop people, so we rope dropped Test Track.
We did.
That way we wouldn't have to stand in line, so we did that. And then our first Genie Plus, our first Lightning Lane, we bought Genie Plus, and the first Lightning Lane that we got was for Frozen.
Yeah.
We also, again at 7 a.m., got the boarding group for Guardians.
Which was very important for us since it had just opened.
Yep, so we did a lot that morning. And then we kind of rode some rides, and then we went around the World Showcase. We tried not to go back and forth too much because Epcot is the day that we find that we have the most steps.
And that's where that planning comes into play. And obviously, you can't predict when the lightning lanes are going to become available. But by utilizing the lightning lanes and stuff, we tried to stay in a region or at least a side of the park, the World Showcase. That way, we weren't down by Test Track and then ran up to France to Ratatouille, then came all the way back down again to do Nemo. Just had a game plan.
Yeah, our daughter met some princesses. We snacked around the world. We ate at Connections Eatery and Regal Eagle.
Great places to eat, by the way.
Both great places to eat. Yeah, we skipped the nighttime show at Epcot, and we actually did Turtle Talk with Crush, and that was great because all the kids and you got to talk to Crush.
Yeah, there was only like 10 people there because it was the last show of the night. It was super fun.
It was perfect.
Yeah, that was awesome. Really glad that we did that. On Tuesday, we did our Magic Kingdom day. So we went ahead and rope dropped Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, so we didn't have to pay for the individual lightning lane. And that one, I think, is a great ride to rope drop because the line or the rope where they let you go is right by the teacups in Alice. So it's really not far. It's not like you have to dash all the way across the park like you do for, say, Pandora and Flight of Passage. So that's one of our favorite places to rope drop because 1, that line fills up, it's long all day long, and 2, it's really close. So we did not get a boarding group for Tron.
We tried.
We did try, and we just didn't get it. So we bought the individual lightning lane because the ride had just opened. It was our first time being able to ride it, and we didn't want to miss it with the kids. So we did take advantage of the individual lightning lane for Tron. Our daughter did Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. I still cannot talk about this without getting emotional because it was everything. Yeah. I mean, that experience, if you have a little girl or a little boy, amazing. They had a photographer there. They're even like taking pictures of me as I'm crying, watching our little girl get all dressed up and her makeup done. Fantastic. We met some more princesses. They're addressing her as a princess as well. She happened to choose Merida from Brave, and when she met Merida the princess, like, see, I'm getting emotional right now. Like, that was an experience. Yeah. So totally recommend Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. It was amazing. Ate at Pinocchio Village House and Cosmic Rays because, again, kids, pizza, chicken tenders.
It worked for them.
It worked for them, which worked for us. And then we watched Happily Ever After fireworks show.
My favorite.
Yes.
My favorite.
And then Wednesday was another rest day. So we planned this out before we went, which this probably was the best decision we made the entire trip. We did a rest day up front, 2 park days, a rest day in the middle, and then finished with 2 more park days. So we got to sleep in a little bit, late breakfast at Ohana, which the kids loved and still talk about to this day. And then we went bass fishing. So this is one of the enchanting extras. And selfishly, this was the thing that I wanted to do on this trip because I've always wanted to go largemouth bass fishing. It's a 2-hour experience. You get your own pontoon, your own fishing guide. He takes you out on the canals. But like, because we were talking to him and we just built like this good relationship, we ended up staying out like 3.5 hours.
For a tour that should have only been 2 hours. And we got some,
so cool.
Yep, they had soda, water, a couple snacks for us as well.
Yeah, and we just had a great time. Now, granted, it was the middle of the day, so it was hot. So, again, they had plenty of things for us. We were still in the shade on the canopy of the boat. But he took us to 2 or 3 fishing spots. Our son ended up catching a fish that was literally almost bigger than he was. He was thrilled. His older brother's like super upset because he got the biggest fish that day. But it was just so fun. So, whether you're a fisher person or not, look at those enchanting extras. That was a great thing to do on a rest day, so we had something to look forward to. And then we spent the rest of the day at the pool. And we enjoyed the slide, the hot tub, the water. Everything was great. And it just felt like a perfect recharge day. Dinner was low-key at the resort, so we just stayed on property there, and it was a wonderful day.
Yeah, and our rest day was still full of things, but we weren't on our feet too much, and it was just enough of a reset that all of us needed.
I agree, and we wanted to enjoy our resort hotel, and so we took advantage of activities that were available there.
Yeah. Thursday, we went to Hollywood Studios, so we rope dropped Slinky Dog Dash because, again, we didn't want to pay for the individual lightning lane. We did buy the individual lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance.
We did.
It's our son's favorite ride, and for us, it was absolutely worth not standing in line 2 hours for.
I would agree.
So we did that, and then we ate at Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, which again was a nice reservation. It had just opened, so none of us had ever been.
So
Kids
fun.
loved it.
Yep.
We went to Oga's Cantina. We had a reservation there. And then the boys actually built lightsabers.
Yes, so fun.
Yep, and that late afternoon, early evening, it had actually rained a little bit. And
No, it poured.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was pretty hard for
like a solid
about
hour.
an hour. And that was surprisingly the only time that it rained on our trip, which was awesome.
We got lucky.
And we weren't sure if they were even going to do Fantasmic with the weather, so we actually skipped Fantasmic. We do think that they ended up doing the show, but we skipped it regardless, which was great because it allowed us to beat the bus crowds back to the resort. And yeah, it was a perfect day.
And once we got back to the resort, because we were there just a little bit earlier, like the boys were playing with their lightsabers. I think we went down to the pool for a few minutes as well that night. So again, I don't feel like we were cut short on our day. And that led us to Friday with Animal Kingdom. So once we got in, we rope dropped the safari. This is a hill that we will always die on. I know most people are all going to Pandora. We go to the safari. It was fantastic. The animals were out. We loved it. The kids had a great time. And then we bought the individual lightning lane for Flight of Passage. We did the Wilderness Explorer badges, which was really cool. The kids had a great time doing it. They got to learn a lot about the animals, and we got to take advantage of all the nature trails because that's where the badges were. So that was really cool to take and look those different opportunities that they had around Animal Kingdom. And then we went to Disney Springs for dinner. Again, Animal Kingdom closes early, did some last minute shopping, and then we went back to the resort to pack. And Saturday was our travel day home.
Yep,
so
and we left.
That was it.
So why we kind of follow this itinerary is there's 3 main things that we have found. We don't like to go to Magic Kingdom on Monday because people like to start off their vacation in, the most magical park. They
Makes sense.
They want to start at Magic Kingdom.
Everybody's there. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't start on Magic Kingdom. We don't do it on Mondays. In addition to that, we don't like to do Epcot on Friday or Saturday because the locals are there. Anybody with an annual pass, locals, they go there for date night. People also want to end their vacation on eating and drinking because you don't want to eat and drink your way around the world and then feel crappy the next day. So people like to end their vacation doing that. So we don't do Epcot on Friday or Saturdays. And Tuesdays are statistically less busy for parks, any theme park. So that's why we go to Magic Kingdom on Tuesdays, is because, it's statistically going to be less busy.
Right. And honestly, it is kind of hard to be patient, but that really has been the best day to go every time we've been. Some of the highlights from our trip, I think that the biggest thing is budgeting for each of our kids to do one of the enchanting extras was great. The boys both chose to do lightsabers, and Our daughter chose to do Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Plus, we had the bass fishing on our rest day. That was fantastic. And honestly, maybe we go into enchanting extras on a separate episode. Because again, there are a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The rest day with Ohana was fantastic. I mentioned that earlier. But Ohana is a must-do for the kids, I think. You get the character dining. You get to go to the Polynesian, which is beautiful. Mm-hmm. Lots to see and take in, whether you're in the restaurant or just walking around the resort. The food's outstanding. They've got pog juice. If you know, you know. Ohana is totally our breakfast place. We love it.
It is.
And then the memory maker. So this is the photo package that you can buy for the resorts. 1,000% worth the money for us to capture the memories of our family that trip.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know what Memory Maker is, there's photographers scattered all around the different parks that will take professional photos in iconic places for you. So you'll see them. They're in bright green usually. Mm-hmm. Just walk up, they take your picture, and they even have special filters called magic shots that offer some fun surprises.
They're
and
cool.
That's really cool to see afterward as well. So they'll take your pictures, they scan your Magic Band or your app, and the photos just appear in your My Disney Experience app. So you can download them digitally from there, have them on your phone in the moment. And this is something that you can purchase by the day or as a package for your entire vacation or your entire trip. Mm-hmm. So really cool. And you can even go take advantage if you don't have the package and then buy it retroactively for the day. So it's kind of a cool, fun piece that was a really great highlight for us.
Mm-hmm. Two more highlights from the trip for me was our daughter doing character autographs. So we didn't want to get an autograph book for her that would just sit on her shelf and she would never see. So we actually went and bought a photo mat from Hobby Lobby. So we got
like the frame matting.
Correct. So we got a white 8x10 mat and it fits, I believe, a 5x7 picture. So we took Sharpies of different colors for the princesses to sign, and we kind of matched them. So Ariel signed in purple, and Snow White signed in red for, like, the apple. But it's awesome. So she has it hanging in her room. We got a picture of her and Merida from the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. All the princesses signed the frame, or the mat.
She loved it.
Yep,
and then it's on display all the time.
Exactly. And then the last was Happily Ever After. And I think you need to understand that Happily Ever After is more than just a fireworks display for us.
It is.
And this is something that we had been looking forward to, I think, more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Holds a special place in our hearts. And to see the look on the kids' faces as they're watching the fireworks display, the projections on the castle, that was the moment of the trip.
It really
You cried.
was.
I cried. It was great.
No, it was amazing. So before we close out this episode, we wanted to do a cast member minute. We want to recognize the cast member who went above and beyond for making our experience at Savi's workshop magical during the lightsabers at Galaxy's Edge. So we don't want to spoil anything for those of you who are still planning to do it. But once you get in, they talk about the different kyber crystals and what each color stands for or represents. So he goes through all these colors. Lastly, he gets to red, which is the color of power and the dark side, and starts naming off these different Star Wars villains who had been wielding red sabers. And then it happens, right? Like, this part was obviously not part of the script, but it was so smooth. And without even skipping a beat, he totally calls out our son, who's wearing his Sith robes, looking very influenced by the dark side, and says, and probably that kid right there. The whole place erupts with laughter.
Everybody's laughing.
Oh, it was amazing. And I'm pretty sure that our son smiled bigger than he ever had his entire life. Like, that moment was just for him. Thankfully, we had our phones out. We recorded it. So we're going to post that video on Patreon for you to enjoy because it was awesome. And our son will never forget that. And it's those types of moments that the cast members are exceptional with. And I don't know. It was so cool. So kudos to you. I'm so sorry that we didn't know that cast member's name, but the whole presentation in Savi's was exceptional. He did a great job with that. And then he just added that extra touch for us. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely was a moment on our trip. So also over on our Patreon, we will be doing a monthly giveaway. So head on over to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for staying with us through this extended episode. Again, this was the longest one we've done so far, probably will be the longest one for some time. It was a lot to cover, but we just felt like it would be very helpful to you in your Walt Disney World planning. We hope you did too. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and Patreon for those extra resources and content we talked about.
Yeah, so until next wonderful Wednesday, TTFN.